You should not be worried about anybody else's thinking. Like, if you really want it, you could do it. Just, people are going to hate. People are going to say you can't do it. Like, people are telling me, oh, yeah, why are you video editing? How much? People are always worried about, oh, yeah, how much am I getting paid when I first started video editing, like, years ago. And, like, I wasn't even making money, like, 4 years ago. I was doing everything out of free, like, just to get stuff out there. So just shouldn't be worried about anybody else, because Hashem has a plan for you, and if you just put that work in, and everything will pan out.
Schmoozers, welcome back to this week's episode of Schmoozing Time. For those of you that are new here, I am David Cobby, and I'm on a mission to inspire Jews to be proud of their heritage and leverage their personal brands. Before I introduce this week's guest, I'd love if all of you could take a second to double check that you're already subscribed to Schmoozing Time. This helps me out tremendously and allows me to find up and coming proud Jews. This week's episode is going to be a little different. It's actually the first time that I'm interviewing somebody that's younger than me. Keep in mind, I'm only 22 years old, and this guy's 21. Now, you might be wondering, David, why the hell are you interviewing a 21-year-old? What's so special about him? I'll tell you what's special about my next guest. This guy's an absolute hustler and is an up-and-coming photographer for celebrities around the world. From his early days making edits during COVID to now becoming Zay Flowers' personal photographer, he's made some huge strides in his lifetime already. Coming to us all the way from the 305, aka Miami, please welcome to my show, Ari Capland. Ari, how are we doing today, brother?
I'm good, Baruch Hashem. Thank God. It's a pleasure being on there. You're actually the first person to reach out, and I've always wanted to get on a podcast, kind of talk about what I do. And I love what you do. I know you just got into it, and you're 22 is also really young. Like, we're both young people. So I know how it is to kind of try to start out and get into it, and anything I can do to help you out. And likewise, you putting my story out there, so it's a pleasure to be on here.
Of course, brother. Before we get into actual stuff, I gotta ask you. You were just coming from a hooping session. What's the deal? Were you dropping buckets today or what?
Oh man, I don't really play basketball too much. Like, anybody at the house will tell you in Baltimore, they will tell you I'm not good at basketball. We have a little mini hoop. We have a little mini hoop at the house up there, and I don't think I won in 2 years on the mini hoop either. So damn. I can play some defense. So I know how to I get pretty physical. Okay. I can play some defense, and I'll give you some mid rangers and some lifts. But besides that, I'm kind of just there to get some exercise in. Play some basketball.
Got you. Some cardio.
Let's compete. I'll still compete, and I'll get some buckets here and there. But
I feel you, man. Are the courts in Miami? There's got to be some good players, right? When you go.
Oh yeah, we got some good people, but I really just play with my boys, and we'll get some little runs. Nothing too crazy.
Well, Ari, I think the main reason why I have you on here, not because you're, Zay Flowers, official photographer. I think the main reason, seriously, why I have you on here is because not only are you doing amazing in the photography world, but also you're such a proud Jew. And I think in today's age, right, talk about everything that's going on in the world. And I don't want to even get into, anti-Semitism and October 7th, all that stuff. It's so hard to be Jewish today. And I think we both know that. So I think let's start off, Ari, by talking about your Jewish background. I know you're wearing a kippah right now. You're from Miami, big Jewish area. So why don't you start by telling us about your Jewish background?
So I grew up in Crown Heights. I lived there for the first 3 years of my life. 1 to 3, I was in Crown Heights. We actually moved when I was 3 years old to Israel. Wow. I was in Israel for 3 years. So 3 to 6. I moved a lot, so it's hard. I'm just going to try to break it down to you as much as I can. But
for sure.
3 to 6, I was in Israel. And then we moved back to New York. So then from 6 to, I want to say, 6 to 13. No, 6 to 12, I was in New York, Crown Heights. Mm-hmm. And then I ended up moving to San Diego for a year. So I was 13 years old in San Diego, my 8th grade year. Mm-hmm. 7th grade year, just turning 13. Then moved back to New York for 8th grade. And then I moved back to San Diego for 9th and 10th grade. And then for my 11th and 12th grade, I moved to Miami. We ended up coming to Miami. I remember I was in California for my 10th grade year and my 9th grade year. And I went 10th grade. I did a summer program called TJJ. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. 4 weeks in Israel for public school kids. I was in public school when I was in San Diego for my sophomore year. So I went to Israel for 4 weeks. And I remember, we didn't know where we were going to move to. I heard we were moving. I didn't know where we were going to go. And I just remember being on my summer program, and then like when I'm on our last day, we're coming back to, the trip was over. My mom sent me a text. She's like, we're gonna move to Miami, like out of nowhere. Like I just got a text, we're going to Miami. So I was like, all right. Like at first it was hard because I had a lot of friends like in LA, San Diego, and I wasn't really like looking forward to it. But it's the best thing that ever happened to me. So I'm glad that happened. And Shem works in mysterious ways. You never really know what he's trying to show you, and what everything happens for a reason.
For sure, man. And I want to ask you, like, growing up in Crown Heights, right? That's the center of Chabad.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, so you must have a lot of, and I think a reoccurring theme with my guests is that we all love Chabad. I mean, I personally love Chabad. Like University of Maryland got a great Chabad. Down here in Baltimore, there's a good Chabad, which you should come check out actually whenever you're down here next. Like,
yeah, I'd love to.
Chabad
does it best, man.
Chabad does it best. There's nothing like it. So aside from, being in the Crown Heights environment, like, how did that impact you as a Jew? Like, did you feel overwhelmed when you were in the Crown Heights environment?
No, I mean, I was going to say I grew up in, like, I went to, like, Lubavitch Yeshiva. I went to Darchem and Achem, like, two big yeshivas. And I'll tell you, like, it depends how you take it and what you make out of it. Because, like, there's a lot of beauty in it that really builds, like, a person, like, to an extent. Like, everybody's coming in and you're seeing everybody for who they are as, like, a Jew, like, as a proud Jew. Like, everybody's coming in a white dress shirt, black pants, and everybody's coming in and just, like, how can we connect as, like, people? Like, we don't care, like, oh, what backpack you're wearing, like, how much money you have. Like, we don't even see past that. We just look at you as a person. So, like, being in Yeshiva, like, definitely made me who I am today. And some of my, like, best memories come from being in Yeshiva. Like, my best friends till this day, like, I still talk to every day. I was in Dark and with. I still speak to a lot of people from my, I had a lot of, like, friends I still speak to now and from Dark. I mean, I love Crown Heights. I'm actually going to be there in 3 weeks. Like, there's a lot of beauty inside of it, and it definitely, like, builds someone to be, like, a strong, proud Jew.
For sure. And I think, with all my guests, I like to ask them this question, right? There's something special that I think we all do individually when it comes to connecting with Judaism. And, for me, one of the things that I like to do is, put on tefillin, and I try and do it as much as I can. To be honest with you, not as good.
It's hard, man.
It's tough, man. Because, like,
I struggled with it for a while. It's tough, man. Like, it makes it feel like it's so easy because everybody's like, oh yeah, like you put it on for 1 minute and you take it off. But I don't know. Like, for me, like, I'll tell you, like, for me, like, for a while I was struggling. Like, the one thing I always kept, like, when I grew up, I kept Shabbos, and I grew up very religious. Like, I kept Shabbos. I did everything. But as I got older and, like, moving state to state was very hard for us, and it's hard to be a religious Jew when, like, you're going through everything and a lot of other, like, personal stuff going on too. So it's hard, but
for sure.
I always told myself, like, I always felt it inside of me, like, oh, like, I know what I want. It's just about, God's, like, Hashem's timing, and all about when it's gonna, like, I'm gonna be able to put my footing down. And, like, more recently, more than ever, like, my friends, my good friend Asher Miller, he's a legend. He inspired me. Like, started, like, me and him, like, I always told myself, like, I'm not gonna just be religious to say I'm religious. So I have to do things that make me connect with Hashem. So I started learning with him the weekly chumash, and then after that, like, I enjoyed it. So I was like, how could I, connect more? So then I decided I'm going to start taking it upon myself to, pick up tefillin and wrap tefillin. Takes a minute, like you said, like, just got to get up and do it. So I started doing that, started putting tefillin on. And then after tefillin, I was like, all right, like, I'm putting the tefillin on, but I wasn't really davening or anything. I was just putting them on, saying Shema. And I didn't really feel a connect. It was kind of more of just like, oh, doing it to say I could put it on and, like, take them off. Right. And then I decided, like, let me get back into my roots. Because when I was in yeshiva, I remember, like, always davening and having, like, all these niggins used to sing and tunes that would go with the davening, and, like, it kind of reminds you of being a kid, like when I used to be that religious. I went to my rabbi of Surfside, Bell Harbor, Reiki Farkas, and I told him, let me get the same sitter that I had in yeshiva when I was in Darkei, like the most basic one, like the most basic sitter. It's like people in, like, probably kindergarten use that one.
Sure.
I went through with him, and I went through everything that I remember, like, that I used to daven. So I've been davening like 10 years besides for that. Like I've davened, but when, like, you'll pick it up, like, when you're in yeshiva or, like, you're in school, like, you're just picking it up to just be there. Like, half the time I'm in the bathroom, half the time I'm just ditching. Like, I don't actually want to be there to daven. So,
right.
So I was like, let's go through everything and let's find stuff that I used to say when I was in yeshiva myself. And let's, I want to reconnect and, like, feel like, get that connection going again. So we went through it, marked down, like, Shema, the brachas, like Maidanio, like, the essentials, basically. Stuff that I feel like, because I'll tell you, before I did that on my first day davening, I said, all right, let me daven. Before I spoke with him, I said, let me daven. And I was davening, and I was there for 2 hours, and then I look up, and like everybody's gone.
Wow.
Because I was going through the whole thing, and I was like, I haven't really like sat down and felt the kavana and like daven in such a long time. So I was like, everything was taking me so long. So then I called him. I said, Shaiki, we have a problem. I said, I can't do the whole daven. I said, all right, let's go through it. We'll get you started on what you need to know and like the most important things, so you can maximize your time, because it's not realistic to be there for 2 hours.
Right.
So that's what we did. And I haven't davened, like I told you, besides like over the past month, I've been going to shul every morning, and I've been connecting. And besides for that, I've been davening in like 10 years. So like to do that, like I've been feeling amazing every morning. Like waking up, it's like the best routine to have in the world. You wake up and you connect to Hashem, and you ask Him for what you want. And like, you're not going to get it every time, but Hashem's going to do stuff for you that you'll realize it throughout the day. Like, wow, like this just happened. Like, he'll put miracles in your life without even asking for it. Even like, so that's something I took upon me.
Yeah, I first of all, like, it's amazing that you're now reconnecting with Judaism. But going back to your point about Hashem, Hashem does like. Hashem gives you miracles that like you don't realize really, and
crazy miracles.
It's just like there's crazy things that happen to you that are like Hashem did this for a reason. There's also like that part of it where it's like Hashem will put something, God will put something in your path,
a challenge in your life, put like a test.
Exactly, and He'll test you, and you just have to overcome it. Like I personally like. I respect everybody's opinions, don't get me wrong. I personally don't understand. I've gotten to this point in my life where I'm 22. I've been through college. I've done the whole not keeping Shabbat thing. I've been, kind of like you. I think when I was like in seventh or eighth grade, like right after my bar mitzvah, like I was putting on tefillin every single day. I was going to shul and learning with my friends every Shabbos, and like, it was like I was so like in a groove. And then when I got to public school, it was like things changed and like
way different. A whole different world. It's like,
yeah, I still haven't gotten there. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing that like where I am right now. Like I think if anything,
everybody's on their own level of like connecting. Like there's no right or wrong. And
exactly.
I think one thing my mother always told me, like my mother's a big part of it. She always used to tell me like, oh, like don't try to be a shit. Like not sorry, I don't mean it like that, but she says it like everybody connects in their own way. Like don't try to tell someone like what to do, like how to do it. Like everybody has their own connection to Hashem. Like someone could connect in like davening, someone could connect to putting on tefillin, and someone could connect just in like wearing a yarmulke or just being there for like Israel, or like putting like trying to support Israel in their own way. Like you could be connected in any way possible, and how you want to go about it is all between you and Hashem. And like you don't have to feel like, oh yeah, it matters how people perceive you, because your connection with Hashem is you. Like you're not doing it for the people who see me around the street, and like it has to really be for you. Otherwise, it's not really like it's not real. Like
right.
And I think it's all about you. Like you saying Shema once a day or once a year, or you going to shul once a year, or going just for the high holidays. Whatever you want to do is that's how you connect, and there's no level of right or wrong.
Exactly. No,
that's just how I see it. And that's, my mom always was big on that. Like she'll do brachas in the morning, and like I think that's beautiful. And she could connect in her way, and just seeing that like makes me happy.
Absolutely. And I gotta ask you, so you went to yeshiva for a number of years, and between the public school yeshiva, there were a lot of different environments that you were involved in. How challenging was that?
Like, I mean, it was definitely a challenge, because like you're going from, all right, now you're like in this yeshiva, like 300, 400 boys. Like you're not really like, so you're like socializing, but you have your group of guys, and you have your keto with like 15 kids or whatever, 40 kids.
Sure.
And all the guys, and you're coming in every day, and then like all of a sudden, like, all right, now we're gonna put you in a mixed school in San Diego with girls, and now it's like, oh, like, like obviously I was like down for that challenge. Like I wanted to go there, I was excited, but as a kid, you don't really like understand really, what you're getting yourself into, and it's like going from yeshiva to being in a mixed school is a huge like leap of like my first, like until I was in I think 7th grade or 6th grade maybe. I didn't learn math or English classes or anything. So it was like, I was always catching up. I was just spending extra time tutoring, like learning a bunch of classes that I did, because I was never taught it. Like I was in Yeshiva.
Right.
And all of a sudden I'm in a mixed school. I'm learning math, science, like social studies. I was like, yeah, I don't even know what these stuff are. Like, only thing I knew was Gemara, Mishnah, like Navi, and like now I'm being thrown into a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's like trying to like fit in and balance everything out was definitely a lot. But, you know, everything kind of happened for a reason. And yeah.
Exactly. And I think it's so amazing. You kind of talk about, you know, your life, you know, you have a challenge, right? You had this challenge of going from public school and going from yeshiva to public school, which I think a lot of kids face today, whether it's for social reasons, economic reasons, whatever it is. Like, it's hard to make that transformation. I remember when I was, you know, going into public school, from a private Jewish day school and going into public school, it's hard. You know, we're sheltered. Thank God. When I was, you know, kindergarten through 8th grade, I was so sheltered. But then going to public school kind of faced that challenge, gave me that challenge. And
wait, I don't want to cut you off, but I want to touch on what you were saying earlier.
Go for it.
Like, I think what also helped me out a lot too is because, like, I lived in Crown Heights. Don't get me wrong, and I was going to yeshiva over there too. But I lived closer to like the outside of it. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with the area, but someone who's listening, or you know, someone might know. But I was on St. John's Place, so that's like all the way outside of, like, you're not really outside of Crown Heights. Like, if you go 3 blocks up, you're on Eastern Parkway, but you're on the outside of it. So like, I grew up with a bunch of like, we were always outside. Like, we're not inside the house watching TV. Like, we're either on the block, like playing freeze tag, or playing football on the corner. Yeah. So like, and the way I was raised, I'm always like, you got to love everybody. Like, you know, we're all human beings, and like, you know, we don't judge anybody off how they look or what race they are, or what religion they are, nothing. So me and my friend, like, we kind of knew everybody on the block. Like, so I had my friends in yeshiva, but I also had a whole other side of my life that, you know, people in yeshiva didn't really see. Like, till this day, like, I'm still close to them. Like, I'll tell you, like, Miles, Govan, Mishka, like Lorenzo, Karen, like a bunch of guys who lived with, like, on my block who weren't Jewish, but, you know, we all just got along. We all, like, you know, just said we're all humans. And like, so I'm not going to say that I was some different kid in yeshiva, but I kind of had two sides of me where, like, I understand where everybody's, like, you know, putting, you know, a lot of kids in yeshiva weren't, like, they weren't exposed to all of that, but I was exposed to it as a kid, thanks to like my parents. They kind of put it on me to just love everybody. So I'm thankful for that. It helped me out a lot too, because a lot of people in yeshiva, like, I don't want to say like closed-minded, but you don't experience a lot of things, and some good, some bad. But you know, my parents kind of just said, like, this is a story, and you're just gonna, like, all right, like, for playing tag with Miles and like Govan and Mishka, and like, oh, I want to go inside the house to get some water. Like, oh, bring them in, like, can we get them something to eat? Like, they could chill. Like, so we're kind of all just a little family, like, on that block, St. John's. Like, I still speak to them to this day. And none of them are Jewish, but like, they're all my family, and they know that. Like, they came to our mitzvah, we have a picture with them. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. I honestly, like, you know, I think you're onto something here, right? Like, there's definitely, when you immerse yourself in a yeshiva, there is some element of closed-mindedness, because you're so immersed in Judaism that it's like your entire focus, you're laser focused on Judaism. And I'm saying this as somebody that's had friends go through yeshiva and felt exactly what you felt, right? Like, the closed-mindedness is definitely a part of their struggle. But I think how you branched out and still made it so that you were talking to other kids that were outside of the yeshiva world, like, super helpful, especially for what you do now with photography and everything, and just getting started in that realm. Like, I feel like having that ability to really connect with other people outside of just Judaism must have helped you a ton. Like, am I right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say, like, a lot of what you're saying is true. I mean, not in like a negative or positive way. Like, both, you know, I think that yeshiva is beautiful. Like, there's a lot of good things about it, but I'm sure, like, some families, and depending on the case and who it is, like, it is, especially in Crown Heights, like, you know, you're not always exposed to everything, and it's because some people could be perceived in a negative way of the stuff around you, and like, because there is a lot that goes down in Crown Heights, and I can't blame anybody for that, because you see on the news every day, my boys in Shmira, like, And every time I'm on this WhatsApp and I see another person's getting arrested, another person. So yeah, there is this, like, you do feel it, and I don't blame them for that, because you see these crazy stuff happening every day. I'll say this, that, like, I try to, like, most of my good friends who are in Yeshiva, I brought them around too. So it wasn't like just me and like my neighbor with all these guys. Like, we're all together. Like, none, like, just because it wasn't just me. Like, I brought all my friends from Yeshiva to my house, and like we're all hanging out. Like, and they're all so close to this day. So
that's amazing. I love that, brother. And to get more into photography, which is kind of what you're doing now, I want you to start out by talking about getting into photography and your passion for photography. So, from my understanding, COVID kind of helped you in the sense that you started to create highlights of football players. I think I was scrolling way back. I saw like a Jeremy Chin highlight. I saw an Antonio Brown highlight. Like, you got some good players up there.
But COVID year, like, everybody had like the ups and downs during COVID. Like, I know a lot of bad stuff happened too, but also a lot of people took the bad and made it into a positive. Like, for me, like, I was like mentally not where I wanted to be during COVID. So I'll tell you that. Like, it was like I was going through my stuff too.
For sure.
And being in school, like doing school online, is also just hard enough itself. Like, you're at the house with 5 siblings. Like, 4 of us are in one room. Like, all of us are just sitting there all day. Can't really do anything.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, like, I got to do something. Like, I'm not just gonna sit over here. Like, so I remember like showing my like siblings, like, oh, like, look at this edit I made. I was like, I think my first edit I ever made was like, I did a video of like Julio Jones, and I put it on the TV. And I showed my brothers, like, oh, like, whatever, it's dope. Like, whatever. I just started. I was like, I had to download the software for free online. I didn't have money to like pay for it. And then as I started making them, I would like send them out to all my boys, be like, yo, put it on your story, like tag the person, whatever. Like, I could show you, like, I used to harass everybody. I'd be like, yo, put it on your story, tag the person, whatever. Because, you're just starting to yell, and like all you can really do is just try to get out there.
Right.
But then I remember my first one that actually got like some notice and views and insights was I did a video of Alan Lazard.
Okay.
He receiver on the Packers at that time. I know he's on the Jets now.
Yeah.
I did a video of Alan Lazard, and like, I guess he saw it and he put it on his story, and it did like 2,000 views, like, which is nothing. But for me back then, just seeing that on his story, I was like, oh, like, I might be able to actually do this, like, take it to the next level. Like, if I'm doing this right now on my little $100 computer, laptop, and I'm doing it with no support, nobody really like helping me out or anything, and it's just me, like, why not try to, do it on my own? And I remember, like, it was actually my like make it moment when like I realized I could actually do this, is when I actually like a year later, like 2 years later maybe from that day, I remember I actually ended up linking up with Alan Lazard in person and like taking his photos, and like that's when I was like, oh shit, like like that's what I'm saying, when like Hashem blesses you in a way where you don't really see it. Like, it took a lot of ups and downs to get to where I wanted to be, but just being like, I'm all like saying like Alan Lazard's like amazing, like he's a go and everything, but when you're editing a video of someone, when you first start out and like you're trying to make it, and then you're actually with the person like a year later, like, it just shows you got to keep going, because God's like, Hashem's blessing you, and he wants you to take those blessings and put it to work. So it's all to you, really, what to do with it.
Yes. Wait, so between you posting the edit of Alan Lazard and you linking up with him and actually doing shooting for him, that was only a year?
So, all right, so I did, like, I could go on my timeline, but I think I did Alan Lazard. I posted on my story. And through that time, I was doing work with other guys too. Like, I remember DeMar Hamlin from the Bills. Mm-hmm. Like, he was coming out of college, and I had just bought a camera, like a $500 camera. And I remember like hitting him up when I had like a couple hundred followers, and he was like, oh yeah, I bet, like, pull up to get pictures of me, whatever. It didn't really work out. But I just remember that being like, and that was pretty crazy for me, just him coming out of college, and he wasn't really that big of a player, but just to be doing that. And like, I was ditching school. Like, I was like, I remember like it was online, Zoom, and I had this camera on me, and I had this guy going into the NFL for the draft, and DeMar Hamlin is texting me like, yo, like, come pull up and, take some pictures of me at practice. Then I'm like, yo, I'm looking at my calendar, and I have a Zoom class, like, so I'll just have to turn my camera off, go to the field, take these pictures. Yeah, and just like, you know, if I didn't get the grades or whatever, it was like, honestly, at that point, I was kind of more just focused on my dreams. So it was like, I had to just do me. But didn't work out with Damar Hamlin. I did some work for Antonio Brown too. Didn't really work out. But throughout that whole time, it was all just grinding. Like, I can show you my DMs on Instagram. Like, there's probably over 1,000 NFL players I was just DMing, like,
wow,
every other day, just saying, yo, can I make you a mixtape? Can I make you a mixtape? Can I make you a mixtape? And, you know, like, it's actually kind of sad to say, but, like, most of my friends didn't really support me. So I was kind of just doing it on my own. I had, like, a few really solid guys who were always there for me. And, like, till this day, like, they're still, like, my best friends. Like, any chance I have to really, like, any chance that I have to bring them around or, like, get them, like, kind of like, oh, like, I have an event and I can, like, bring my boys with me, like, they're always there. Like, you know, like, one of my best friends in New York, like, I bring him to Baltimore with me. We're going to games, like, because he's always, like, a lot of guys didn't want to put my stuff on their story because, like, they felt like, oh, yeah, like, I don't, why am I reposting that? And I was like, all right, like, I'm not going to beg you, like, you do you. Like, some guys even unfollowed me, friends to this day. And, you know, it's crazy how, like, things happen and the tables, like, you know, I don't want to sound like that, but tables turn and eventually, like, you end up, now that I made it to somewhere, like, now that I'm doing successful, like, work and I'm actually doing what I love doing, now they want to, like, try to, like, yeah, bro, you're doing big things, this, oh, yeah, bro, you're killing it, this. But when I was first starting out, though, you didn't want to, like, repost my stuff at all or help me out to an extent. I will say, like, to anybody out there in my position or someone wants to start out or anybody doing anything, like, you should not be worried about anybody else's thinking. Like, if you really want it, you could do it. Just people are going to hate. People are going to say you can't do it. Like, people are telling me, oh, yeah, why are you video editing? How much? People are always worried about, oh, yeah, how much am I getting paid when I first started video editing, like, years ago? And, like, I wasn't even making money, like, 4 years ago. I was doing everything out of free, like, just to get stuff out there. So just you just shouldn't be worried about anybody else because Hashem has a plan for you. And if you just put that work in, and everything will pan out.
Brother, your story is so awesome. I love that first of all, you're talking about, you know, your friends being fake as fuck to you. Like, I think it's hard, man. I mean, people want to fucking criticize you and all this shit. Like, I mean, especially for me, right? Like, obviously not to the magnitude that you are, but like when I started this podcast, it's like, you know, I can tell, like, I can read people very, very easily. Like, people think it's weird that I started this podcast. They think it's weird. And like,
people are always going to think it's weird when you first start doing something. Like, anything
exactly.
You do, like, people think it's weird. Oh, yeah, you're streaming now. Oh, bro, that's so weird. Like, oh, yeah, you want to pick up a camera, start taking pictures of people, like, working out. Like, bro, that's weird. Like, you're taking pictures of another guy working out. Like, that's weird. Oh, like, yo, like, you're downloading people's footage off YouTube and making videos and putting music on it. Oh, yeah, that's weird of you. Like people are always going to think you're weird, but at the end of the day, like, once you make it, I promise you they're not going to be thinking you're weird.
Exactly. And it's funny because, like, those same people that were like, oh, this shit's weird as fuck, like, all this stuff, like, they're coming running back to you like, yo, bro, this shit's cool as hell. Like,
yeah,
you know,
it's always weird when you start out. I mean,
it's funny, man, how the world works. And I think,
yeah, you live in a world where everybody's going to try to judge you, try to say this, and try to, you know, I kind of, like, you know, thank God for myself. Like, you know, I kind of put everything behind me and just said, like, you got to do you. Like, I got to do me because you can't please everybody. And
yes, sir.
You know, like, a lot of times, like, even my own family wasn't there for me. So you really got to do what's best for you. And like, nobody saw, like, really but me and, like, a few friends. So, you know, you got to do what's best for you.
Right. And I think for you, right, the common theme that I'm seeing or hearing from our conversation is just this, like, idea of, like, fearlessness. So how do you not be scared of, you know, DMing 1,000 NFL players? Like, how are you not, like, scared to do that? Because I think between me and you, we both know that success rate is, like, so slim.
I mean, so I don't really do that anymore, but when I was doing that when I started out, because obviously now, like, I know some guys, I don't really have to, like, do that, thank God. But when I first started out, I remember, like, first of all, I was DMing them, but I was also just, without them even asking, I'd make videos of them and I'd make sure I just spam them in the comments, like, tag them. But, I mean, you can, like, at the end of the day, it's actually funny because, like, me and Zay were laughing about this because I was at his, I was with him in Baltimore, like, around last year. And he got a DM from someone saying, like, yo, let me make you a mixtape. Like, And I was telling him, I was like, yo, like I used to be like that guy. Like that's me. Like, you know, you got a lot of these guys like grinding, like just trying to, you know, try to do them. And, you know, guys like you, guys like me, like, you know, it's not easy because you're doing this all out of you, like just having a love for what you do. And it's kind of hard doing a passion or doing a, you know, doing a job that is a passion, like, and trying to make that as a living because you're really doing it all for the love of how you have it. People try to take advantage of you. And so it's tough, but at the end of the day, like these NFL players get 1 million DMs a day. And when I was starting out, I was like, all right, what one DM like to each guy? All right, he's probably not going to see it, but that one person that might see it could change my whole, you know, turn things around. So that was my mindset kind of going into it.
I love that. I love that. It's so funny because it's like, it's literally you're always like one person, one connection, one follower, one video. You're always one something away from like actually just taking off, right? Like it's actually so scary almost.
Everything like happens for a reason. Like I said, like you might not see it in the moment, and like you might think like, oh yeah, like oh this guy wants me to come take pictures, but he doesn't really want to pay me that much, and this, and like yeah, I get it to like an extent. You don't want to just be working for free, but a lot of times in my own career, like there's times when I went out and just did it out of my own pocket for someone because he was like a bigger player or something, and like the amount of connections that one time led to is like out of this world, and like that's really Hashem.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's all it is.
I think there's a lot more to life than just money, right? And I think you and I are on the same page of this. We're on the same page about this, right? Like I'm doing this podcast. I mentioned many times on other episodes. I'm doing this at a loss. I'm doing this at a loss for time. I'm doing this at a loss for money. I'm making $0 off this. Why am I doing this? Because I genuinely care and I'm passionate about personal branding and Judaism and telling the stories of people like you, Ari, that are doing such amazing things, right? And just like this idea of having connections and doing your passion, right? Forget about the whole connections thing. Doing your passion, right? Doing whatever you're passionate about, you're going to have to start, right? If you want to get to a certain level, you're going to have to start out by doing it for free. I think I've kind of come to that realization now where it's like, you know, you have to prove to other people every single day that you're as good as you are. And you have to start out doing that for free.
I mean,
go ahead.
Like, I wouldn't really say it. Like, I 100% understand what you're saying, but the thing is, when you first want to start out, all right, like if you want to do it for money, then you better have like you better show up, like you better send the deliverables. They better add up to how much you're getting paid. Like, so the thing is, when you do it for free and you're starting out, you can give them anything they get, and there's gonna be no complaints because you're doing it for just to put it out there. Like, if you feel like you're ready to be paid, then you better have that work ready to be paid too. So for me at that time, I wasn't ready for that. So I was kind of just learning, and I was like that, like, I wasn't ready for all that. So I was kind of just doing it on my own. But as soon as I actually realized, like, I could take it there, then obviously I started getting paid. But for me, I always like loved football. I love playing sport. Like I love playing football. I loved watching NFL. I had a lot of like moments in my life where when I saw like, wow, like I'm here, like I'm not playing football, but I'm taking pictures of an NFL player and I'm meeting all these guys and I'm, and I'm like, take a second to realize like, wow, like Hashem, you just did this for me. Like I'm basically doing what I prayed for and what I dreamed of, and I haven't even realized that until, a month ago. But to be able to acknowledge that and like give thanks to Hashem, and that's like coming from Crown Heights, I don't think anybody's doing what I do as like a NFL photographer, and like want to be able to. A part of me too is also hard for me because you could be like this amazing guy, but if you don't really have like your footing down, or like I want to be able to put on for my community, like give back to Crown Heights, like. You hear a lot of like negative narratives about it, but it's a beautiful place, and like that's what made me who I am. Like, so to be able to do what I do, coming from there, it gives me all the happiness in the world. Because I go back there and I don't look like I come from there. I don't look like I'm a Crown Heightser, but I walk down the street, and I run into everybody that I know, and it's like, oh, how are you? Like, so.
I want to ask you, like, you and Zay, right? You guys have a very good connection. I don't want to ask like a stereotypical question like, oh, how'd you and Zay meet? I want to ask you legit, real questions. Like, why did Zay choose you? Why do you guys connect so much?
Man, like that's a good question. Zay is like, I'm not gonna say he's like me, but he kind of had like a story where in his own life, like he persevered a lot. He went through a lot. He sees it like in a way where, you know, like there's like he knows what it is to like be like the underdog and like be doubted. Like Zay had almost no offers coming out of high school. He's a smaller receiver. One of his brothers got killed. His mother passed away. Like, you know, growing up with 14 siblings, he's 11 out of 14. All you really have is like just to be like happy and always try to be positive. And, you know, Zay's very big on God too. Like Zay's very into that.
Yeah.
He's very into like, he's very big on family, because when you have your mother pass away and your brother, like you realize how valuable life is. So Zay's very, he's genuine. And I remember since the first day I met him, like since the first day you meet a lot of these athletes and everything, and a lot of them kind of just like shrug you off, like, oh, you're working for me, this, like, oh, yeah, you're just some random photographer, like I'm so big compared to you, like I have these millions in my bank account. But the first day I met Zay, I remember telling him, like, Zay knows, but I remember telling him, like, the first day I met him, so his agent, Eric Dunn, he's also an amazing guy. He has some guys at the University of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taking pictures at the games for some media agency, 305 Sports. I was going to Miami, taking pictures of the games. And one of Eric's guys were being represented by him at that time was playing for Miami.
Yep.
So I remember he used to like swipe up on my stories of the guy saying like fire emojis, whatever. And then I remember I DM'd him. I was like, yo, let's lock in this summer. Like we got work to do. Like basically saying like if he ever needs me, like whatever. At that time, I didn't really know about Zay like to an extent because he played at Boston College.
Right.
It was like a little smaller school, like ACC. They weren't too good. Mm-hmm. But I always remember seeing Zay on this media page. I'll have to get you the footage, but this media, not media page, NFL trainers page, Gold Feet, Tevin Allen.
Okay.
The best trainer out there. He does all the guys. They all come to Florida to train with him.
Okay.
I just remember seeing Zay on this page, like doing these crazy, like insane footwork, insane routes. Like you would just be like, yo, who, moving different. Like you don't see somebody moving like that. Like,
yeah,
it looked like the video was sped up. Like you got to see it for yourself. It just was insane. Right. So I always remember like knowing who he was, and I remember he played Florida State and he killed Florida State. And where people knew he was from Florida and he's playing at Boston College, but like me personally, I didn't really watch so much college football, so I didn't really know about him aside from that.
Right.
So I remember I DM'd his agent like, "Yo, we got to work this summer, blah blah blah, etc." And then like 2 weeks later, he DM'd me. He's like, "Yo, like one of my guys are in town." He's talking about Zay, and he was gonna sign with the agency, and he wanted me to come through and take pictures of the agency when he signs the papers, like all that. Mm-hmm. So I was like, "Yeah, I got you. Like, let's do it." And then like flashback, like a week after that, when he was time for him to sign it. So I went to Zay's house, Zay's father's house. I didn't know any of them. It was him, Jojo, his brother, Lilton, they call him Fat, and Zach, his best friend. And also Fat's one of his best friends too. But I remember going to the house, and I walk in, and I see Zay and everything, and he's like about to sign these papers to sign with the agency. And I was like I'm a little quieter, like I'm not too like out of there. Like when I don't know somebody, like I'm kind of just more to myself. But I remember like Zay, like, you know, introducing himself. He's like, "Yo, what's up? Like, nice to meet you. What's your name? Whatever." And he was like, I was showing him my work, and I was like, "Yo, like, if you ever need somebody, you know, like let me know. Like I'm always like I'm trying to do this as my life job. Like I want to do this forever. Like it's what I love doing. If you ever need somebody, let me know." And he was selling his agent. He's like, "Bro, like this is him right here. Like let's get him." So then like a couple of days after that, his agent Eric texted me. He's like, you know, oh sorry. So before that, I texted Zay. I have the screenshot somewhere on my phone.
Okay.
Hold on, I might have to pull this up for you.
All right, pull it up. I want to see
Let's see if I got it over.
This is a crazy story, by the way.
So yeah, let me see if I got it real quick. It's an old picture. Oh, yeah, here we go. So I texted him January 2nd. I was like, "Yo, my guy, I'm telling you, nobody's hungrier for an opportunity more than me. I'd love to lock in with you and be your guy for any content." And then all he texted me back, he's like, "Yo, like, bet, let's do it." And then I said, "Oh, like, say no more, like, let's do it." And then after that, so he just got back from BC, from Boston College. Mm-hmm. And it was his first like day of training, because when you get out of college and you have to go to the draft, like you start training and you have to go through the whole process of finding your 40, all these different stuff that they test you on.
Yeah.
So his first day back, like he just like, aside from him being at the signing for his agency, like my second time actually meeting him, I just remember going to the gym where he was working out at. And I remember like, because I dealt with other guys before him, like other NFL players, but most of them all like, you know, they have this like I don't blame them because they run into so many people like me who are like kind of just like a guy who wants to like, they know like what their status is compared to like, you know, like a guy like me. So, but when I met Zay, they kind of just like, he looked past that. Like I remember actually telling him in person, I was like, yo, like you're different, bro. Like just so like you're just different. I could tell like you're a genuine guy. Like, and after that, we kind of exchanged some words, and we spoke about everything, whatever. And he was like, bro, like, just come stay with me. Like, just pull up to my crib. And at that time, I was living with my mom, and I just got out of high school. Like, I think, 19, 18 maybe, probably 19. And I told my mom, like, yo, mom, like, I have this opportunity for me. Like, what do you think? And I was like, oh, Ari, like, do you know him? Like, how do you know him? Like, whatever. And I was like, mom, like, trust me. Like I'm good. Like, I'm, you know. And at first, she was a little bit like, oh, she didn't really know if it was the best for me. Mm-hmm. I told her, mom, like, you got to trust me on this one. Like, he's a good person, and I know like, he's going to take care of me. So, Zay has 14 siblings, so you can imagine what the house was like. So, at that time, he was living in, besides Boston. After Boston, he came to Miami for a training, like I said. So, he was staying in an Airbnb.
Yeah.
And it was like him, his brother, his best friend, his other brother. And I think that was it at the time, but it was like a 3-bedroom. Mm-hmm. And obviously Zay too, so it was like 4 people there besides me. And, you know, he told me, he's like, yo, you could definitely come stay with me, but I'm just letting you know right now, like, there's no room at the house. So he's like, if you want, you could feel welcome to, like, just bring an air mattress, like, put it on the floor in, like, in the living room. We'll get your desk set up right over here. Like, you could do whatever you like. Like, basically, I'm just telling you, like, and he told me, like, one thing I could say about, like, Zay, like, I could say a lot of things, but everything he says, like, happens. Like, no matter how you take it, like, we're talking about, like, Hashem and blessings and everything, and how you don't always see it at first, but everything he says happened. Like, at first, they projected him to go, like, 3rd, 4th round, like, late in the draft. Yeah. And it was crazy for me to see it, like, witnessing it firsthand, like, throughout the whole process. Like, he went all the way from 4th round to, like, all of a sudden, all right, bet, now, like, they have you in the 1st round, like, proving everybody wrong and just staying, like, dedicated to his craft. And, like, I've seen it firsthand, like, he's different. Like, he's, like, different, but, like I'm saying, so I remember, like, I was like, bet, like, you know, let me come. So I got this air mattress, put my PC in my car, packed up everything for my house. I just pulled up to the crib, set up in the living room. He's like, I swear to you, as soon as, like, you're gonna see how this is gonna end up happening, and I promise you, once I finish this, I'm gonna go 1st round, and you're coming me to the new crib. Like, you're gonna see how it's all gonna go down. So I'm like, all right, all right, bet, like, I got you, like, and I'll send you a picture. I was on the mattress in the living room with JoJo, Fat, Roro, his younger brother. He plays football. 2 of his, like, best friends, and yeah, did training for, like, 5 months. I saw it all go down, like, late nights, early mornings. I'm out there with him on the jug machine all the time. Like, we're going to every workout. Like, he's not missing anything. He's one of, like, the guys you're there. Like, he doesn't want to miss it. Like, he's there. Like, we could go out late, but he's still getting up at 5 a.m. to work out, and I'm going with him. Like, I'll be on the mattress. Zay's coming out of his bedroom, and then he's, like, tapping me on the he's like, yo, AC, we got to go. So I'd brush my teeth and we'll run out. Did that, like, every day. Yeah, and then he got drafted, but that was, like, the off season, basically.
So you slept on a mattress for 5 months while he was training, just so that you could take pictures of him.
Yeah, I mean, like, he wasn't, that's exactly what I did. He wasn't trying to, like, convince me, like, yo, like, AC, bro, you got to do this. He's just telling me, like, I'm just telling you how it's going to be right now. Like, he has, like, family first over everything, and we all know that, and I stand by that, and, you know, it's something wrong with you if you don't stand by that, but, like, so I understood that, and I respect that, and I know his family, and, you know, we're all very close, and especially being over there on that mattress, like, you're there, and everybody's around you. You're not getting your own, like, personal space. Like, you're, everybody's very close over there. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll be, it's 4 a.m. and I'm on the mattress and then someone's in the living room. I think that's also, like, very important to, you know, kind of just staying down until you come up. Like, There's a lot of challenges in the way. I didn't have to do that. Zay didn't Zay wasn't forcing me to do that.
Right.
It just, I knew that, I knew it isn't a guy saying like, oh yeah, bro, like, sorry, you can't have this room. Like, you won't just be on the floor. Like Zay's telling me like, yo, like, trust me, like, it's going to be hard. But I swear after I get drafted and I go first round, I'm about to turn up and you're going to be there right with me, like, through everything.
Wow.
So I was like, all right, like, let's do it. Like, I wouldn't do that with anybody. Like,
yeah.
But, Zay, like, special, so.
Yeah, no, not only is he a great receiver, but like from what you're telling me, like he just sounds like a phenomenal guy that's just so crazy down to earth. And man, that story is amazing. I think that's by far the best thing I've heard on this podcast. Like you're sleeping on an air mattress. You're essentially putting your photography career on Zay. You're just one guy, Zay, right? You had so much faith in him, right? God forbid, he could have gotten injured, right? And then done. He falls down to the 7th round. Like, God forbid that would have happened. But you again, talking about Hashem makes everything happen for a reason. Something in you was like, I'm trusting this guy. Like, that, it's just like the whole thing is so amazing.
Yeah, I mean, of course, anything could happen. You don't know, like, God forbid, like you said, but the way I roll, like, the way I was brought up, and it's all about, like, being genuine. Like, I was around Zay enough to realize, like, he really is there for each person. Like, he wants to connect to you. He wants to understand you. He wants to, like, once I saw, like, his, his friends, I told him, I was like, yo, like, I've never met someone, like, you have always diverse friends from all over the place. Like, you wouldn't understand it. And it was kind of reminds me of the way I was brought up. Like, just, everybody's just human and just try to, love everybody. Yeah. So when I saw that, I realized, like, yo, like, because I had two sides of me. I had this Yeshiva side of me, but I also had this side of, like, wanting to, because I told you how I grew up. So I had this side of me who, like, calm, collective to myself. I also side of me that wants to get out, listen to, like, different types of music and wants to go out. And, like, so Zay understands both sides of that. And he knows where I'm coming from, and he knew how I was raised. And to put that putting that to the side really, like, showed me, like, yo, like, this is a guy, like, if he gets injured, I'm right there with him. Like, we'll record the injury. God forbid. Like, if something would have happened, like, well, I'm there for that too. Because he was the same way for me.
Yeah.
There wasn't a time when, like, he wasn't there for me as a photographer. And he's always, like, anywhere we go, he's looking out for me. Anything, like, all right, if we're getting food, yo, AC, you want something? Like, we're getting up every day in the morning. And we're going to fast food. And every morning he's going, oh, yeah, black coffee for AC. Like, he already knows what I want. Like, every morning. And yeah, I mean, like, even at that time, like, I was keeping kosher to an extent. Like, I was eating dairy out, but I wouldn't eat, like, anything meat. I wouldn't eat any meat, non-kosher meat out, but I was keeping dairy or I was eating dairy out, like pasta and stuff. But almost every day when I was over there, I was eating, like, Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast, dinner, and breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I was eating Dunkin' because I couldn't eat anything else.
Right.
And also, I was on a tight budget. I didn't, like, couldn't really go out, afford to do all that.
For sure.
I was just trying to keep the bare minimum. But, like, I remember what was crazy was, like, everybody knew I ate Dunkin' because I was trying to keep kosher. Like, breakfast, like, if they weren't getting Dunkin', I couldn't eat. So it was just Dunkin'. Wasn't healthy, but, I had to do what I had to do.
You got to do what you got to do.
And I remember, like, then he started getting these deals with Dunkin', like, photo deals and everything.
Yeah.
And then he would just, like, get these gift cards. He'd just, like, give them to me. He'd be like, yo, like.
No way. Oh,
like,
my
yeah.
God.
So it was, like, even though it was hard, like, there were so many times when I could, off the top of my head, I can't really think about it, but there were so many times just being, like, throughout that process with Zay over the past 2.5 years or 3 years, when, like, there were times where, like, oh, like, all right, it was hard. And then, like, I saw, like, a miracle just happen, like, a blessing out of nowhere, like. Yeah. Like, something bad happened, but boom, like, then you see how it turns into, like, a good thing. Like,
yeah, exactly, man. Oh, man, Ari, you're a phenomenal guy, man. And I think we could talk for ages. But I want to wrap things up. Just like one final question for you. So, outside of Zay, right? Like, Zay's your main guy. You've also photographed. I mean, like, I see, like, the Miami football team on your page, like. I saw some pictures with Bob Menery. Like you're around a lot of big name guys, and you're building your brand, you're building your reputation as a photographer very, very, very quickly. And right, you're still 21, man. You got so much freaking time on your hands. So, what are your next steps?
That's a good question. I mean, it's a great question. I don't even have the answer to that. I'm kind of just shooting this documentary, like me and Zay are shooting this documentary, but besides that, I'm doing some freelance work.
Okay.
Honestly, I haven't really been so worried about building a brand. I know it's important, but this is just kind of what I love doing. I'm not really sure if, like, besides this documentary I'm shooting with Zay, I don't know, like, if this is something that, obviously I always want to do this, and I'm always going to have my camera with me no matter what, but, I think I also want to open up to just doing more things for myself, like spending more time on my, getting closer to Hashem, and, figuring out what, like, myself besides just a camera in my hand, because that I'm always going to be able to do, and, but I want to really try to get my footing down, and that's what I've been doing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love it, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you photograph a lot of these guys, and like I photographed, like, for example, like a big part of my childhood was like growing up in Crown Heights. OBJ, like Odell Beckham, was like a huge guy, and I remember like photographing him, and I was like, I called my best friend in New York. I was like, yo, like Shanair, like, guess what I was just with OBJ. Like, he's like, yo, no way, like I had bar mitzvah y'all because of him, and I was like, yeah, I know, that's why I had to call you, and I was like, and then like I brought Shanair to Baltimore, and like he gave out some of the yarmulkes, some of the guys that like knew him, like. So everything really pans out for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, and things really connect in the long term, in the long run of things. But also, I think everybody's human. Like, you could photograph all these big guys, and you could work for all these big guys, but all about really how you connect and the story behind them, and how, just being a good person. Like, that's really what, when you could photograph somebody, but being there for when it's not always going like well, and seeing all the things that go behind the scenes, and how you could take care of other people, and being there for their family, and doing all these kind things, and just being a good person, being genuine, that makes what I do 100 times better. And like, Zay makes that easy for me, because I have all this stuff on my camera where I'll be like looking back, and I'm like, yo, that's crazy. And then like does this for somebody else, and like I'll look back at it, I'm like, yo, like how, like it doesn't make sense. Like, I remember even at the Shrine Bowl, like Shrine Bowl practice, like he wasn't supposed to practice, like, because what, the Shrine Bowl is like a event before the draft, where like they have a lot of guys come play each other, like, and he was one of the bigger guys over there. So if you're like a cornerback or you're on defense, you're trying to hit him because you want to make a name for yourself over there. So like Zay didn't know if he was going to be shut down or not, and I just remember like the people were saying he's soft and whatever, and like kind of just he got like that like motivates him. So I remember he got up at like 5 a.m, worked out. There's videos. I have a ton of videos, like 4, it might have been 4 a.m. I don't know, 4 or 5. Got up, worked out. Then got suited up. He wasn't even supposed to be out there. And then like he just went out there, went crazy, like shut everybody up over there. And like I just started realizing, like, when you really keep it genuine, try to keep that, be at peace with yourself and be at peace with everybody around you, and try to talk bad about other people. Don't try to speak about other people. Just really worry about what you have to do and get it done. And like Zay's always told me that, like, there was a time when I said something about someone, he was like, yo, like, he's like, stop worrying about other people. Like, everything will pan out for itself. Like, you got to stop doing that. Like, it's just going to end up hurting you. As long as you make sure you take care of yourself, everything will happen for a reason. And like, that's what I've been doing since. But definitely keeps me in check sometimes.
Yes, sir. Man, you got an amazing story, Ari. And, I hope that, you continue to share this story outside of this podcast, because I think everybody would want to hear that story that you just told us for the last hour on other platforms, man. The fact that just so many things about you, like, you're already trying to give back at such a young age. Like, that to me is just like, that's, when you've come across a good person, is somebody that wants to give back, right, to other people and your friends too. Like, it's one thing to give back to your family, right? That's I think it's a given that you give back to your family, and you just got to do that. But to go out of your way to give back to your friends, to give them signed pictures of Zay, the OBJ story, like all this shit, man. Like, you're a phenomenal guy.
Like I told you, like, I don't really have a lot of friends. Like, obviously, I have a lot of guys that I'm cool with and everything, but I moved so many times, so it's like, I went to like 8 different schools, like 7 different schools, and you meet all these people, and it's like, yeah, you're cool with them, but I really have like 4 solid guys who've like always really been there for me. So,
Hey.
and they're all different guys. One's a rabbi, one's like everybody, like 2 of my best friends are rabbis. Other one's just like me, like, but we all connect, like, we all just look past that, and these have been my guys since like day one. And if there's any chance I could just like show them like my side of how I'm like what I'm doing, and like since something they're not used to, but they want to be around it too, and it's like it's always been there for me. So why not just try to do what I could do to just bring you, like show you around, or just have a good time, get you to the game or something. Like
100%.
Not a lot of people have been there for me besides that. So whatever I could do to really do that, makes me happy, not just that.
Exactly. All right, brother. Well, before we end things, I want you to share with everybody where people can find you on social media and see your work with Zay, with all these other athletes.
Instagram.
All right.
At Ari Capland.
All right. Make sure, guys. I think I don't think I even need to say what I always say every episode, which is share this episode with somebody and follow my guests. Like if you're not sharing this episode with somebody, I don't know what the hell you're doing, to be honest with you. Like Ari's story, absolutely phenomenal. I think it's just inspiration, testament to how being a good person can get you so far in life, right? Ari's 21. Just watch out, guys. Watch out. That's all I'm going to say.
I was gonna say that's one last thing. Just what I would say is to everybody, like, make sure that you soak in what's around you. Like for me, like at that time, going to 7 different schools, Yeshiva, public school, modern Orthodox, living in all these different places. Like without that, like I wouldn't be who I am now. And during that time, that was some of the hardest times of my life. And when I look back at it, of course it was hard and I was miserable, but it kind of made me who I am today, and how to really understand, like, I'm so more like aware of everything around me, and like I could really be in a very, like, I could adapt to every environment now because of how I've been like brought up. But at first I always resented it, and I was like, my mom kind of had it the same way, and my dad, they also moved a lot, and like I don't blame them, like, but at first it was always hard for me because it's hard moving, like, and everything. And like there were times when I was like sharing like a bed with my younger brother, like going, my mom's driving me to school every day. And like also before I wrap up, let me talk about my mom real quick and my dad too. My dad was a photographer. He didn't really do it as work though. He just did it as like a hobby. He's like, his camera got stolen in Israel, and like that was kind of raps for him. But so that's definitely where I get that from. But and he's also like a huge inspiration. But I'll say like my drive and like my motivation, definitely my mom, because I always remember as a kid she always got it done. Like always got it done. Like I even have an essay I wrote about her in high school and in middle school about her being like a hero, like my inspiration. And it's true because some of my youngest memories, like being in 7th grade when my parents split up for a little bit, it was just me, my younger brother, my younger sister, and my youngest brother. All of us were in an apartment with her in New York, and we tried out this new school, this modern Orthodox school, like 40 minutes away from the house. Like, how it is driving in New York, Crown Heights. Yeah. 40 minutes away. Being at that point, they were divorced, so being a single mother and doing all that is already hard enough. You're getting food for the kids, you're trying to, spend time with them, but also at the same time, you have to worry about yourself too. And never really understood how hard it was until like recently when I started really getting to myself and like understanding things around me. But she used to literally wake up every morning, take us to school, because how else are we supposed to get there? Yeah. Maybe once in a while we had like a ride with somebody else, but very rarely. Sure. Almost every day, she would wake up in the morning, drive us 40 minutes away, go home. And then she was also at that time doing interior design school. So for her to do all of that and still like, be strong and like be there for me when I needed her. So she kind of like inspires me. Like if she could do all that, like you're taking care of 4 kids. At that time, my older brother was with my dad in San Diego. That's why I say 4 when it's 5 of us. When you're taking care of 4 kids on your own, like, I want to be able to give back to her too. And also just for myself, like if she's pushing herself that hard, you can't tell me I can't, like, because that's insane to do. So I could definitely do like on my own. Like, thank God I'm not in that position, but to be able to push myself harder too. And she pushes me. Right.
Amazing, man. I
think talk all day, but I don't want to.
No, dude. This is good. I might need to have you on for a part 2. Make sure we're following Ari. Obviously, make sure we're following the show. I mean, give this show a 5 stars. I mean, that Ari alone deserves 5 stars. So please, make sure you're following him. Until next time, keep schmoozing.